Mick Foley, creative team. Go directly to jail, do not pass go, and do not collect $200 because Mick Foley, in his role as general manager of Monday Night Raw, this is some bullshit, and I'm gonna let you know exactly why. And if you're not down with that, I got two words for you. Cognitive dissonance. There is no human being on the face of this planet that should understand the brutality of the Hell in a Cell concept the way in which Mick Foley does. He is without question the greatest or worst, whatever way you want to look at it, the worst victim of the Hell in a Cell match in WWE history. And I actually went back and I rewatched that match, him versus The Undertaker, King of the Ring 1998. I rewatched it tonight just to validate my reason for being pissed off to the highest level of pissivity. And what I saw in that match was Mick Foley at the top of the cell, being thrown off the top of the cell, crashing into the announcer's table down below. Mick Foley being chokeslammed through the top of the cell, crashing to the ring down below. Mick Foley being thrown onto a pile of thumbtacks. Mick Foley having a tooth hang out of his damn nose, being beaten down, broken, bloodied to a friggin' pulp. And after all of that in the year 1998, you fast forward to 2016, he's in the ring handing out Hell in a Cell matches like he's motherfucking Oprah giving away cars. You get a Hell in a Cell match. You get a Hell in a Cell match. Everybody gets a Hell in a Cell match. And the fact that he was standing in the ring and he gave Sasha Banks and Charlotte a Hell in a Cell match like it was a reward. You don't always get what you want, but you get what you deserved. You earned this Hell in a Cell match. You worked your way. You're so amazing. You're such great competitors that I'm going to gift you a Hell in a Cell match. And that made no fucking sense to me at all, because you want to talk about, rewinding. You don't even have to go as far back to 1998, but I implore you guys, if you don't understand why I'm saying what I'm saying in this video and why this is such a big deal to me, don't take my word for it. Judge for yourselves. Go back and watch the brutality of that Hell in a Cell match from 1998, and then look at that segment on Monday Night Raw with him gifting them the Hell in a Cell match like it was a reward. And judge for yourself the difference in tone between those two. And then you could also go back to 2014, because Mick Foley came back to WWE and he had a segment with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins as they were preparing for their Hell in a Cell match. And I actually wrote down a few things, or I wrote them down on my iPhone. Yeah, I wrote down a few things on my iPhone. That's my story and I'm sticking to it, damn it. But what he said to Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins in that promo. And I quote, "This match will go on to define you in the same way that it did me. I look at my life in two very distinct phases, pre-cell and post-cell. And I'm not sure either one of you are prepared for the life that awaits you on the other side of that cell." He was talking to them and saying, how in the hell did you let this friendship, this brotherhood get to such an ugly point that the only way that you can settle this bad blood between you is a Hell in a Cell match? You guys don't know what you're getting yourselves into. Fast forward to 2016, here we go. You're so awesome. I'm giving you this Hell in a Cell match to reward you for your greatness. That made no fucking sense to me at all. And I'm wondering, I'm not even wondering it now. I know it. The Mick Foley that we saw in 1998, that is not the same Mick Foley that we see in 2016. The Mick Foley that we saw in 2014 isn't even the same Mick Foley we saw on Monday Night Raw, because that is no longer the hardcore legend Mick Foley. That is Mark Foley. That is Fanboy Foley. And it's so funny how he confirmed that on TV when he was talking about, you know what, I sat in the crowd last week. I went to the 8th row and I just sat there and I watched this match between Sasha and Charlotte, and he gets way too caught up in his role as a fan, and he doesn't understand that he has so much value as a performer in the industry. He has experience in a Hell in a Cell. Like I said, nobody understands that concept the way in which Mick Foley does. And for him to gleefully, happily say, yeah, you get a Hell in a Cell and this is awesome, it destroys the structure of what I think wrestling should be. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be a fan. Shit, I'm a fan. But there needs to be some defined line in between what it is that I do and what I say versus what the people say on screen. Because if you put yourself into a position where you're so giddy about your aspirations and all of these achievements that you're throwing away potentially compelling stories just to get to that point, just to throw it in everybody's faces. Oh, hey, this is going to be the first ever women's match in a Hell in a Cell. Like, all of the props that I gave them for what they did last week and not letting the aspirations of the moment, not letting their ambitions get the best of them. I gave them props for not doing that last week. They reversed all of that shit this week, and they killed so much potential in the story just to rush to this point, just so we can say, oh yeah, this women's revolution, this is going to be awesome. The women are going to be in a Hell in a Cell match. That made no fucking sense to me. Like, what is even going on here? And Mick Foley, what is the point of you even being on TV if you can't play up off of your experiences in the industry? Like, what's the difference between me and you? I'll tell you the fucking difference. You're actually a wrestler. You've been there before, and you should be able to share those experiences. And there should have been some kind of story told where Sasha Banks was begging for this match, or Charlotte, however you want to do it. And Mick Foley is like, you don't know what you're getting yourselves into. You're all gung-ho about this women's revolution, but this could stop this revolution in its tracks. Not just stop this revolution, but put an end to your career. You don't understand the viciousness of this match. You don't understand the brutality of this match. And then get some passion, a heartfelt promo from Sasha Banks talking about how she was a fan and she watched that and she admired Mick Foley for the sacrifices that he made in that match, and she wants to get in there and prove what she's about. And Mick Foley is trying to tell her, this is not what you want. I'm a different man. Basically an extended version of what he did for Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. And then her saying, Mick, believe me, I got this. Trust me, I got this. And then he gives them that match. Wouldn't that have been a better fucking alternative than, oh, hey, you're awesome, here you go, a Hell in a Cell match? What the fuck is the Hell in a Cell match even about if we are to look at that as a reward now? And that moment on Raw, and the reason why I'm making such a big deal about it is because it just encapsulates so much of what's wrong with WWE programming. And, you know, you take into account the fact that we have 3 Hell in a Cell matches on the show. You know, Mick Foley is standing there talking about how awesome it is for them to earn the right to be in a Hell in a Cell. Then a few minutes later, you have Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens come out talking about how, you know, Hell in a Cell matches end careers, and I don't want to be some beaten up and broken down shell of a man serving as a role of the general manager. I want to make sure I have this long and illustrious career. But just a few minutes ago, Mick Foley was talking about how much of an honor the Hell in a Cell match was. What? So that's a problem. The fact that Mick Foley is a fucking fanboy, that's a problem. And the fact that they've corporatized the Hell in a Cell match, that's what makes all of this possible. You don't allow things to naturally progress into the point where you announce a Hell in a Cell match. Oh, well, here's a show named Hell in a Cell, so we're just going to throw all of these matches on that show and force these feuds to that point where not 100% of the time, you know, 100% of the time it's not necessary. So yeah, I just had a problem with all of that. And it sucks that all of the praise that I gave WWE last week for not letting the historical implications of Sasha Banks versus Charlotte in the main event, not letting that overshadow the story between those two competitors. Like, you stayed true to the story and there was a sense of genuineness that came into play. All of that shit was gone this week. All of it. Every single morsel, every single iota of it was gone this week. And I don't like, and I'm not saying that this, because this is going to sound weird, but you need to breathe life into that fictional universe that is WWE. It's okay for me to sit here and say it's fucking awesome that Sasha Banks and Charlotte are getting a Hell in a Cell match. This is the first time that women are ever going to compete in a Hell in a Cell match. But when you break down the very structure of what the Hell in a Cell match should be to tell me how important it is for 2 women to be in a Hell in a Cell match, it's like human centipede shit going on here. It's coming in one end. I won't even describe it, but that's basically, you know what the hell I'm talking about. It's just weird to me to sit here and watch all of this play out. And like I said, it's okay for me to say it's great that Sasha Banks and Charlotte have a Hell in a Cell match because it truly is, but I want to be wrapped up in the story. I want to see someone explain to them the physical toll that this is going to take on them, and then I want them to say, you know what? It's all worth it. It's all worth it. And you saying, okay, well, if this is what you think that you need to do, then I'll begrudgingly give this to you. But you have been warned. Don't be fucking happy with giving them the Hell in a Cell match. What? That makes no sense to me at all. You know what? That's it for me in this video. Let me know what you guys thought about it. I'm quite sure, you know, people are going to be like, what? I don't understand what the problem is, because once again, I'll say it. When it comes to storytelling, I'm on this island all by my motherfucking self and nobody gets it. Nobody gets it. But this is why I watch wrestling. I watch wrestling for stories and see how they play out from one point to the next, and to have the greatest victim of the Hell in a Cell match stand in the ring and happily give them away. I can't rock with that at all. So that's it for me, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Curious to know your thoughts on the whole situation. And yeah, that's it for me. Catch you later. Peace.